Hey there friends, it's Elizabeth here from the Everyday Storyteller, and in this video I'm going to be sharing my updated Techo Kaigi or planner / journal lineup for the second half of 2023. So first off, I'm going to go through what I have used in this past half of the year, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and then give you an idea of what I'm going to continue using as far as planners and journals go for the rest of 2023. So let's get started. All right, so if you tuned in to my 2023 planner and journal lineup video, I will have that linked up above. You'll know that I started the year with 2 planners and 1 journal. Let's start with the planners first. So the 2 planners that I started out with were the A5 Take a Note and the Hobonichi Weeks in the Liberty cover. Let's talk about the A5 Take a Note. So if you're not familiar with the A5 Take a Note, something a little bit different than most planners is that the week is separated into 2 spreads. So we have the overview of the week here, and then we have columns, 2 columns per page for each day. So here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You turn the page, you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And since I don't work a regular 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, I figured that this would be the perfect planner for me because it has plenty of room on the days, but it also has a weekly overview, which I was hoping to use for planning out my social media and YouTube and things like that. But for some reason, this size in this planner, we didn't jive, and I'm not sure why. I used this planner in January. Well, I don't think I actually used it that well in January. Kind of here and there in January. But I did use it in February fairly consistently. So you'll see here, this week of February, not much. I did start the spread, so I would decorate them, and then in March I did not use this planner at all, like at all, and I don't think I used it in April either. Let's see if I'm right. Yep. So the only month that I really used this planner in was May. So in May I feel like I did pretty well. Usually the first half of the week, aka the first spread, I kept up with really well, and then I petered out toward the second half of the week, which kind of makes sense because I don't need it as much on the weekends and such, but it's also kind of a bummer because that's whole spread or a whole page that I'm not using, which I felt like was a little bit annoying to me as I went on in this planner. And now it is this week of July and I have not used this planner. So really the only month that I used this planner in was May. And I don't know, I feel like there was a lot of wasted space. I haven't been keeping up with my social media and my my crafting as much as I wanted to for the first half of this year. I'm hoping to get better at that towards the end of the year. So part of that's part of why my planners are looking a little bit sparse. But I don't know, I just didn't jive with this planner like I wanted to. But I am currently setting this planner aside for a while. If I ever get the itch to go into an A5, I will return back to it and see how it goes. But for right now, I am setting this one aside. All right, so the A5 Take a Note was my work planner, my crafty planner, all of that jazz. And then for personal planning, I chose this Hobonichi Weeks in the Liberty fabric. I love this cover. It is so gorgeous. I want multiples of these, but just as notebooks, like blank notebooks in this cover. That's what I want. So I was initially drawn to this Hobonichi Weeks because of the cover, and also because I previously had a Hobonichi Weeks a few years ago and really loved the style, and I was hoping to use this for my personal planner. So let's see how that worked out. So I'm going to show you the weeks here. When I mean a personal planner, I was tracking my home to-do list, my meals, any weekly tasks that I needed to accomplish for family life. And then I was also, I think I was keeping somewhat of a budget tracker in here as well. Again, little lists for things to buy, things that I needed to do that were like top priority, movement / workouts, and then I'd have a little tracker on this side. I would put a couple of washi stickers in here. So I stopped using this as a personal planner, and I started using this as an ink jotter, and I started doing that in April, the last week of April. So this was pretty much based off of Simone. If you don't know her channel, what is wrong with you? You need to go and check her out because she's amazing, and I get all of my fountain pen and ink inspiration from her. I will have her linked down below in the description, but she uses her Hobonichi Weeks as an ink jotter, so she will write down every time she writes with a fountain pen, she will write down a little snippet about the writing experience and how she's feeling about the pen. And I really liked that since I was new to fountain pens and wanting to explore new inks and new styles of pen. So I started doing that in May. Also, I would use this right side to troubleshoot any pen problems, which, as you can see, this ink was giving me lots of problems. This was the Ferris wheel press Fluttering Hearts, and I have learned that I cannot write with such light ink, even though I love the color. So that has been really helpful. I like that I still have this Hobonichi Weeks in my lineup. I still reach for it almost every day, even though it's in a slightly different way. In the back, in the note pages, I have a couple of different running lists. I have makeup recommendations. I have a reading tracker, books that I want to read, a to-buy list for fountain pens and such. And then I also have a spending tracker and a media tracker. Let's see here. So yeah, so I have my media tracker, so that's what books and TV shows / movies that I am watching, and then I also give it a rating. And then also the inks that I'm using. May was apparently a very good ink month for me. It was also a good media month. I watched a lot of TV and read a lot of books, so that was also good. And then this is July. This is a really fun, no-fuss way of keeping track of everything in one place. So I've been really liking the Hobonichi Weeks for that. I think I will keep this in my lineup as an ink jotter. And if I'm having a particularly weird week where I just want something small to be able to take on the go, I might return back to this as a personal planner. But for right now, ink jotter. All right, so we've already talked about the Take a Note planner, and when I realized that that wasn't for me, which I believe was back in March, it was during my Q2 update. I will also have that linked up in the cards. But around the end of Q1, I decided that I did not want to use the Take a Note planner for my crafty / work plans and wanted to go smaller. So I picked up this Aura Estelle Weeks. So this is the same size as the Hobonichi Weeks, but it is slightly different. And I was really excited for this as well. This was a past month that I used to just add some ink swatches to. I used a lot of the pages that had already gone by for extra note planning. especially because I was planning our vacation at the time. So a lot of these are note pages. I did fill in the monthlies with YouTube and Instagram tracking. And I think, yeah, I started using this for real in March. As you can see, it has the weekly on one page, and then it has a page for each day. So I thought that this was going to be super good for me. And I did have a lot of fun decorating everything. This is a little look at what these weeks / days looked like. As you can see, they were kind of hit or miss. Love decorating this planner using fountain pen ink to watercolor. Again, it's Tomoe River paper, so it takes fountain pen ink and watercolor really well. Yeah. So more bits and pieces, kind of just writing down a little bit every day, if that. In May, I decided to give my Take a Note planner another chance, so I did not use this in May. I used my Take a Note planner, and then I just never got back into it. So I stopped using it for real the third week of April. I had decorated the next week, but I didn't really use it. As you can see, it's just decorated. So, I have the other volume of this for the last half of the year. It's a gorgeous, cute little planner. I love the size, and honestly, I feel like this could work for me, but I don't know. I don't want to start it and then waste it. So if you were thinking about trying out this this style, the Aura Estelle Classic Weeks, definitely leave me a comment and we can see if we can work something out, because I would much rather give this little planner a good home where it will be appreciated instead of being wasted on the shelf with me, because I don't know that I will go back and use it, even though it's so cute and adorable and I really want to work for me, but it does not. So that was my Aura Estelle weekly. I used that intermittently until about May, and then, all right, so in the first half of 2023, let's recap a little bit. So in the first part of 2023, I have used 3 planners, A5 Take a Note, Aura Estelle Weekly, and the Liberty Weeks. I am retiring both of these for the foreseeable future. This one is actually done. It ended at the end of June, so I'd have to dig into the second volume, which I really don't want to do because I feel like I'm kind of wasting the paper at this point. So I don't necessarily want to go into the second volume of this one. This one I am putting on my shelf for right now, just in case I feel the hankering to use it again towards the end of the year. But right now, all I have from the beginning of the year that I am still currently using is this Hobonichi Weeks in the Liberty fabric. So you might be wondering, Elizabeth, what are you using for your planner right now? It's a good question. Da, 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 da. The answer to that question is the B6 Common Planner. If you are any way connected to the planner and journaling community, you know that the B6 Common Planner is very trendy right now. It's all the rage, and I got sucked in. So in, I think, the beginning of June, or it must have been the end of May, because I think I got it in June. But at the end of May, I found out that the Common Planner was being restocked, or she had more in stock. for the last half of the year, so I jumped on the chance to try out the Common Planner and purchased it and got it in June. And it does start in July because this is the last half of the year, but I went ahead and dove right in. So I ended up using some of the notes pages and created my own little weekly layout that mimicked the one that is already printed in the book, and used that for June. So for June, this is where I was when it came to planning. And I really liked it. I had lots of room to write any notes that I wanted to do. And then also I really like the style of these weekly layouts. This is very similar to the Hobonichi A5 Cousins that I have used for many, 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 many years, just in a smaller size, which I think is kind of perfect and what I was searching for at the beginning of the year, but missed out on because the Common Planner sold out so quickly. But this works perfectly. It is a B6 size. The weekly layout is all on one spread. Lots of room for note pages. I just went ahead and made my own spread until the actual planner started. So I will go over there and show you what I've been doing. So the planner started the last week of June, the first week of July. So I went ahead and decorated it with fountain pen ink splotches. This was the week that we were on vacation, so I went ahead and put a washi strip at the top and then filled in the dailies with what we did each day, which worked really well because there's little time. There's like a timeline on the side of each day, so that actually worked really well. I don't usually go and plan with like time in mind, so usually I would ignore that, but for this it worked really well. This is this week, and for this week I decided to do something a little bit different and experiment, and I actually covered up the tops, the dates for the rest of the week, and then wrote them on the side, and then I have this big space over here for like to-do list and such instead of having like a daily. So I really don't like how this actually turned out for this week. I think it's because I wrote in my own dates and like it's not aligned and it's just very imperfect, and I don't tend to like it when it's that way. But I do love that I would be able to do this and kind of play around with the layout in future weeks, hopefully a little bit less messy than this. But one thing that I do love about a weekly layout like this is you simply turn the page and bam, blank spread, perfect, new, chance to start all over again, which really suits me. So as of right now, the B6 Common Planner is where it's at for me. I'm going to be using this for the rest of the year, fingers crossed. I have lots of note pages here in the back, as you can see. I'm so excited for this size. B6 is like my sweet spot between A5, which often feels too large, and something smaller like an A6 that feels too cramped and small. The one thing is that the Common Planner is doing pre-orders right now, and as much as I would love to jump the gun and do a pre-order for the B6 Common Planner, I'm still not quite sure if this is what I'm going to use in 2024, so I really hope that I don't miss out on the Common Planner because I waited too long to kind of figure out that this was the planner I want to use next year. That is the problem with pre-ordering these planners and such in the middle of the previous year. It seems like every year the pre-order period just gets further and further away from the start of the new year, and pretty soon we're going to be pre-ordering 2025 at the beginning of 2024. Or at least that's how it feels like. I realize that they do that because of production levels and because it's a smaller company, but for people like me who change their minds every month, it seems, it's hard to jump onto the bandwagon for pre-orders when you're not quite sure what you're going to be using in 2 months, never mind a half a year. But for right now, the B6 Common Planner seems to be where I'm getting a lot of joy from in planning. We'll see how it goes, but hopefully this little baby will be here at the end of Q3, filled up as much as possible. So fingers crossed. All right, so we've talked about planners, but what about journals? So at the start of the year, I had 2 journals. One of them was my A6 Hobonichi Hon notebook, which was supposed to be my daily journaling notebook. And then one was a regular 003 Traveler's Notebook, which is where I was going to do more long form journaling. I will link the video of my December journal, which was very similar to this, which I was hoping to continue for 2023 up above in the cards. I didn't end up continuing with that style of journaling, even though I really liked it at the end of 2022. For some reason, it just wasn't working for me, and I kind of stopped doing this style of journaling. When would that have been? The 27th of probably February, since things are definitely in pink. Yeah, I'm thinking it was probably the 27th of February. So I stopped using this before the second quarter of the year even started. As you can see, I have a bunch of blank pages. I did fill in some of the blank pages with reviews of the books that I'm reading, which I probably will continue doing just until this notebook is actually finished so I can archive it. I don't mind that both of those things are in there, that it has journaling and it has book reviews, because it all ends up archived in the same spot. So that's fine with me. I just have to take the time to fill in the back of the journal in order to write in my book reviews. So that will be something I will hopefully be working on. It hasn't been top priority right now because I've been busy with trip planning and other things. So that was my long form journal, no longer using that type of style, but I am still long form journaling, just in a different style. So we'll get back to that. Now, as far as daily journaling goes, I started the year in my 2023 Hobonichi Hon notebook, which is a hardcover A6, and I am still in that. I've actually pretty much kept up with it daily, which I am really proud of. Again, monthlies get almost no use, really. I just tend to write in my husband's work stuff so that I remember when that happened, any days off that he has, or training that he has. My husband is in the military, so he is away a lot, so I always mark down the days that he is gone. And then let's start into the dailies. As you can see, I like watercoloring in this journal. Originally it was supposed to be really plain and just words, and it has kind of gone back to that, but I go through phases where I really love watercoloring in my journal, and recently I have been using these pages for fountain penning watercoloring, which I love because the pages don't get super crinkly, but it has the same effect as watercoloring, like traditional watercoloring. So that's been really fun. Let's see, when would quarter 2 have ended? January, February, March, April, May, June. Wait, no, this would be quarter 2. When did quarter 1 end? January, February, March, so April. All right, so I think I left off in April. Yeah, all right, so in April, there's a lot of blank spots. So I don't write in this every single day. Sometimes I have to catch up. And sometimes I don't catch up, obviously, but I really enjoy doing this as a semi-daily practice. I use a different fountain pen each time I write in it. This is May. I definitely noticed a trend that I'm starting to write in cursive a lot more, which I had kind of gotten away from for a really long time, but I've noticed that with a fountain pen, I tend to really like my handwriting in cursive, so I tend to use cursive a little bit more. It also keeps it a little bit more private because my kiddo is learning printing, not cursive, so anything I write in here in cursive, she can't easily decipher, which works out really well. This is June. I don't think I did a lot of decorating in June. Usually I do my decorating on the Sunday before the next week, and I'll decorate the week. That's usually also when I play with my fountain pens and inks, and I will often, when I am filling up my pens, I will go ahead and spread the excess ink onto these pages just to give it a little bit of extra color, and it's a fun little ink exploration, I guess. So that is it. That is June. I'm not counting the fact that there's a ton of blank pages at the beginning of July because we were on vacation. So, and I did start up again a few days after we got back, so I'm counting that as a win. Again, if these blank pages are starting to bother me towards the end of the year, I will go in and print photos on vellum and add them onto here. But for right now, it's fine. I know that these days are documented in other places, so it doesn't really bug me that they're not in here. So that is my daily journaler. This will definitely stick around until the end of the year. I'm still debating on whether or not I will get another one of these for 2024 or experiment with a different style, but I am really proud of myself for doing almost daily journaling for the first half of 2023, and I really hope that I can continue my streak for the last half because I know that I will appreciate looking back at this journal. So along with this daily journaler, I also have a long form journal. Again, my previous long form journal was a traveler's notebook insert in 003. And there was a couple of months that I actually didn't long form journal at all, so I didn't really have a book for long form journaling. And then I started back up again, I believe at the end of May, in this book. So this is the Onion Skin Journal. As you can see, the pages are super thin. Actually, one of the reasons why I feel like I didn't use this journal when I first got it was because I wasn't using fountain pens. I was just using regular ballpoint pens. And I feel like this paper really shines using fountain pens. So it really was the perfect time to start using it when I started going into fountain pens and inks a little bit more. So I've been using this since May 31st. As you can see, I've used up a couple of pages. Every time I journal, I usually fill up one full page. There's been a couple of times where I'll go to the next page and fill up 2 pages. I usually, let's see if there's one that I can show you. I usually will fill up the 1 page and then I will date it with my regular stamp, my date stamp, and some black StazOn ink. That works really well on this onion skin paper. I also tried my fountain pen ink watercolors, and it actually works really well on this onion skin paper. I had originally tried doing regular watercolor on this paper and it ended up horrible. So I'm really glad that fountain pen inks don't create the same wrinkles and stuff that the regular watercolor does, because that was crazy. But as I said, every time I do a journal entry, I use a different fountain pen ink color, and that kind of delineates when each entry starts and stops. And other than that, it's pretty simple, just writing. I might do some watercoloring beforehand, but that's about it. Otherwise, it's just getting my thoughts down on paper in a more long form format. So that is my long form journal. All right, so I started the year with these planners / journals, and I am continuing 2023 with these. So this I'm in daily, this I'm in daily, this is a Extravagant Hope card from Brandy Kincaid, and it works perfectly as a pencil board, so I'm just gonna stick that in there so it doesn't get lost. So again, journals, A6 Hobonichi Hone for daily journaling, Onion Skin Journal for more long form journaling, As far as planning, I am in my B6 Common Planner with the companion notebook, which I don't think I talked about, but it's pretty much just notes and such. And then as an ink jotter / bonus planner, I have my Hobonichi weeks in the Liberty fabric. And that is what I am hopefully going to be using for the rest of 2023. So thank you so much for getting through this really long video all about planners and journals. If you have any questions about what I'm using or any tips and tricks about how to use these better or how you use them, I would definitely love to know. Pop me a comment down below. And thank you so much for watching. I hope I see you in another video soon. Have a great day. Bye.